Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range.
He calls me a white witch. Like, nothing can get past me with him. I'm just like, what's up? What's going on? What's happened? I just know.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Women are so intuitive. Like,
not all, but they have the ability to tap into it.
I just think they all are, but then there's some women who don't know how to harness it.
Yeah, true. They don't know how because they're not connected to their bodies.
Do you think that's the big difference?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You got to be deeply connected to your body to be able to listen.
Through a yoni egg?
Yeah, through yoni egg, through embodiment, through yoga, through spending time on your own, through trusting yourself when you hear the calling, do this, do that. When you don't follow it, then you're not listening to your intuition, and then it creates a distance between you and the voice. A voice, a knowing, a feeling, whatever that intuitive hit is. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense because women's bodies are so sacred. I mean,
yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I didn't really understand that until I witnessed 2 childbirths.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
I know, Clementine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her curly hair.
Yeah, you should see it now.
How old is she?
She's 7.5, turning 8. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, do you remember her?
Yeah.
I'm so stoked that you remember her. She's the best. She's a little artist. All she wants to do is draw and create. And I don't know where she got this from, but we'll go out and she'll pick up rubbish off the ground and go, Daddy, I can make art out of this. I could make this.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. And we go to the beach and she just picks up rubbish and puts it in the bin. And, like, she's been doing it since she was 3 years old. I'm so proud of her. Anyway. All right, so let's get... Do you want to start?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is for Clementine and Otis. So become a Patreon of THT, support the show, obviously, and indirectly support the causes that the guests advocate for when they are on the show. So 10% of all Patreon subscriptions are donated. So hit the link in this episode's show notes or visit terriblehappytalks.com. While you're there, you'll also find links to the sponsors of THT. And when you shop with them online, use the promo code THT at checkout. And as a listener, you'll get discounts. But also, by supporting them, you're supporting me. And I only align myself with companies that I believe in, companies with a strong mission, purpose, and ethos. And those companies are Indosol Footwear, Crush Organic CBD products, and Kingpin Skate Supply. People say, oh, why Kingpin Skate Supply? It's like, because they're a local company and they're skaters, and I love skateboarding. It's like the best thing. It's really good. You got to skate. If you don't skate, that's okay. Just believe in skateboarders. I'm ranting now. So that's it. Thank you, everybody. Terrible Happy Talks. Terrible Happy Talks.
Yeah, good to be here.
Whoa.
Dude, I'm pumped. 3, 2, 1. Do this.
Today's guest is Shell Whitbred. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Thank you. Shell is an energetic mentor and human design apprentice. Yes. Shell is also a long-time yoga teacher, mentor, and she empowers women to unlock their limitless potential. This week, Shell is with me live and in person to share her journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Shell Whitbred, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Define the term energetic mentor.
Oh.
I love that.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Everything is energy. Everything. Our thoughts, the words that we use. And I have always had this natural ability to understand how energy works and how I incorporate that into what I do with women is the easiest way for me to explain it is, you know, the saying like, one door closes and another door opens. That's how energy works. It's like when there's something in your life that's not working, or often we hear the term like, I feel stuck, or there's a block. That is energy. And when we can shift and remove that situation, it closes down that area of our life and then opens up a new opportunity.
Is that what you're teaching your mentees?
Yeah, and how to understand the universal laws of energetics, especially the law of nature.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Sorry for swearing. We were just talking about swearing and I said I'm not swearing anymore because of my mum. But
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum. I love her. God, I love her. I mean, she is my spiritual and energetic mentor. That woman really epitomizes some of the things you're saying, but I don't understand it. And what are the principles that you were just referring to?
The law of nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that things like seasons?
Yeah, so we are nature at our core. Humans are. You know?
We forget.
Yeah, we forget.
We forget we are part of nature.
We are nature. And if this is a new concept and you're listening, you're probably thinking, what the fuck does she mean? Like, how? I'm not a tree, but you basically are a tree. We are trees. Because if you look outside, that tree is going through a cycle, as do we. And understanding how nature works as it goes through its seasons and its cycles is simply a reflection of the seasons and the cycles that we go through as humans. When I have clients that are going through a really challenging time, I am like, honestly, look outside. Look outside. This weather pattern that is happening right now, this is not going to last for the rest of time. There's no possible way that it can be winter 365 days a year. It's the same as an energy. It's always shifting, it's always moving, it's always, like circulating. Emotions, people who are emotionally overwhelmed all the time. There's no way that that emotion can stay and last for the end of time, because everything is nature. Nature is a reflection of what's going on internally.
I love that. My mum says it to me. I'm going to keep referring to my mum, but yeah, when I've gone through some dark times, she's like, it's a season. It's a season.
Literally.
That will pass. And I'm like, what are some of the common issues, for lack of a better word, that women are approaching you with? Relationship issues? Work issues?
The biggest issue is they feel stuck. They're so unhappy in their lives, but they don't know how to change it. It's like a catch-22. Humans, we don't like change, but we want change because we're unhappy with how things are.
But why don't we change it?
Because we don't like change.
Why?
It's uncomfortable.
Scared?
Scared. They're so disconnected from their bodies and being able to deeply hear, listen, and trust the conversation that their body is having with them. Because we're always not aware, the body is always communicating through to us through subtle energetics. Like there's the body, there is the physical, there is the mental, there is the emotional, there is the spiritual. The body is always communicating to us through the energetic realm. And women are so disconnected from their bodies that they can't hear. So when they feel stuck and they want to make changes in their life, they're trying to make the decisions with the mind. But it's actually you make decisions with the body. How does it feel? We're always trying to think everything. We're always trying to find a solution to everything. But I mean, especially women with their, you know, our deep connection to, I guess it's like, you know, the feminine nature and the feminine energy is that we feel our way through life. We don't think. The feminine is to feel.
Do you feel that you just mentioned then that women are disconnected from their bodies? Mm-hmm. Can you give us like more of a practical example of what that actually looks like? So you said they're trying to think their way out of problems as opposed to feeling their way out of problems. Mm-hmm. But on an everyday level, for a woman to reconnect with her body, like, I mean, we sort of talked about it a little bit at the start, but what does she need to do to become more in tune with that?
Get still.
Okay.
Yeah.
But doesn't that apply to everyone?
Yeah, for sure. But when you're still, you're able to recognize sensations.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
And this is how your body communicates to you, is through a sensation. And the women that come to me, if they're feeling a certain way, for example, I am feeling anxious, what is happening is there is a sensation that is happening within the body that the mind labels as anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being still and getting still to sit with the sensations that are occurring in the body for a long period of time. It doesn't mean you have to sit still for 7 hours a day. But this is something that I encourage my clients to do, is just lay down on the floor.
Still body.
Still.
But in that stillness, the mind can be very active.
Yeah. And then breath.
Is the mind going to slow down though?
It's not always about going in there with the intention to, I'm going to lie down so that my mind becomes still, because what happens is the mind doesn't become still and then the frustration comes in. But it's simply to lay down, just to let yourself be. Be.
It's hard though.
Oh yeah, it's fucking hard.
Why can't humans do it? Like, why do humans, when I say humans, I mean me, why do we find it so hard?
I believe, honestly, it's that there's so much stimulation. You know, like every time we pick up our phone, that light stimulates and activates something in our brains, which it's the nervous system is so wired. I always like to think of the nervous system as like if you have a stereo and the volume is on top notch. That's like a nervous system. And every time we read something, we hear something, we look at something, we're just constantly stimulated all the time.
We are.
Yeah.
Your handle, I noticed on your website and Instagram, is Intuitive Soul.
Yeah.
When do you feel like you really started to understand your depth of intuition and start to, I guess, harness that power?
I've always been intuitive, even
as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Did that look like a sensitivity as a kid? Were you a sensitive kid, emotional?
I was very anxious. Yeah, anxious, but I didn't know that I was anxious. Yeah. And highly intuitive, very empathic. Somebody can walk into the room and I'll instantly know what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and they don't have to say anything.
Even did that happen with me today when I turned up?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was my energy saying?
You have a lot on your plate.
Do I?
Yeah. You probably need to slow down and breathe. Like, take some deeper breaths than what you're just we just breathe normally.
Yeah. But
conscious breaths where you're actually really expanding the capacity of your lungs.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. It's funny because, like, on my personal journey, I know those things work for me and I have those tools. But I just find, and other people may experience this, that I just so readily drift away from it and just want to wallow in my own pain and suffering.
That's because you haven't found the right tool.
You think?
Yeah. I really feel like there's so many tools and there's so many modalities, and not one tool is always going to work for the same person.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it, is there's a lucky dip you can choose from so many. I really believe that when you find the one that has a real pull on your being and your soul, it will become a part of your life.
Was that yoga for you?
Yeah. I knew that because I didn't want to go out and get drunk anymore. Like, I still love my espresso martinis, but I value yoga so much that comes first. Yeah. And I think that there has to be that thing that you value so much that it fills the gap or the void, where it kind of takes you away from the busyness. Yoga and now surfing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you like the rhythm of the ocean?
It scares the fuck out of me. But
Same.
that's why I like it. Because it challenges me. And I honestly believe if you're not challenged, you're not growing.
It's so true. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, I cry at they're like 1 foot and I'm like, oh my God, it's so big.
Yeah. Because it represents, like, I mean, the ocean's represented like pleasure for me, but pain as well over the years. Like, it's been a place that I now actually associate with pain. And I'm not talking about getting injured in the surf, which has happened over the years, but it's been a place I'll go to when I'm in emotional pain and go there for solace. But a strange thing's happening to me. Like, I'll go to surf now when I'm feeling like emotional or sad. And now I have this really weird negative association with the ocean. And sometimes when I'm not sad or depressed, I'll go surfing and I start thinking, and I'll be sitting there waiting for waves, getting sad and depressed.
That's
that
because
weird? Am I weird?
No.
I don't know.
I cry a lot in the surf. Like, I'll just be sitting out on my board and my partner will turn to me and he'll be like, are you all right? And I'll be like, yes.
Tears of joy?
Well,
or is it
energetically, the element of water is associated with emotions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned astrology, and I know nothing about astrology. But I'm open. I want to learn.
Yeah. And
my whole life, people are like, "Oh, you're an Aquarius," and I am. What does that mean?
Oh, I'm not the best astrologer teacher.
Is that why I'm getting emotional in the ocean?
Aquarius? No, I think. So water sign or air?
I don't know. Is Aquarius a water sign? I think aqua. I think it is. It is. No, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, like we have these traits, and yeah, it is water. I just had to Google. It is water. Yeah, so naturally, you are going to probably feel more in tune and in depth with your emotions. You probably feel, and often like you're in a bit of a washing machine with your emotions, like you're riding the emotional waves. That is a trait from your astrology sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm a Capricorn.
So what does that mean?
I'm earthy.
Right.
I like structure and I'm bossy.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm really bossy.
I don't get that vibe.
Really?
No. I guess
I like things a certain way, and I like the best of things, and I used to try and hide that. Yeah.
Do you ever feel guilty for that?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I think because of my childhood. Yeah.
Is that because there was a negative there were negative incidents because of that in your childhood?
Well, there were just times where I didn't have the best of things, you know, like I grew up in a family of 4, and at one time it was just one parent was working, you know, my mum used to make my clothes. Yeah, so that was normal. So then when you become an adult and I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. And maybe it's a little bit of a, you know, a higher price range. It's not normal. That's not what I grew up with. So, yeah, I feel I have felt guilty. That's something that I work on, is removing those like stories and beliefs and conditioning that stop me from having nice things. I can't have nice things.
There it is, boom, the identification. Like,
Yeah.
it happens every time. Like, that's what I love about this. Like, it amazes me, the people that I identify with.
Yeah.
You know, they're always the least. Like you said, your boyfriend's an avid surfer, and you know, I'm like, you know, straight away, I'm like, I will identify with that guy. No worries. We'll talk about boards, talk about skateboarding or whatever, and like, but then I didn't think I was going to be identifying with what you just said around your childhood. Yeah, same thing. And I think for me personally, to continue to relate to that is, I now really have this scarcity mindset. I feel like at any moment I'm going to have nothing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't want to spend money, or I don't think I'm worthy of something nice like these new microphones. You know? So it's like, I just feel like I'm like, oh, I don't deserve this, or I'm going to lose this, you know.
I actually just created a course about money.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 2-hour
so
self-paced workshop about money, because until I started my own business, I had no idea about money beliefs, money stories, money mindset. I didn't know any of this stuff. But the more that I guess, research it, money isn't the problem. It's the way that we think about money is the problem. It is our, money doesn't grow on trees, money is the root of all evil, all these sayings that we have grown up with. Because money's just a piece of paper. It is.
It is.
But the problem is, it is what we think about money.
Yeah.
And also, of course, there are people in society who don't use money to the way that maybe we would.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then we have this belief, rich people are fucked.
They are. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I'm joking. I shouldn't say that. That's a terrible
Because
thing.
there still is rich people that do good things in the world.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I retract that last statement. Sorry, keep going.
So yeah, all these stories, because this is what I think. When I was born, I didn't know about money. I was just living in my birthday suit, getting fed, sleeping, having a good time. So somewhere along the way, I've learnt about money and created a belief and a story about it, and also have created those beliefs and stories around my experiences from childhood and the way that my parents handled money and their parents handled money. So you can rewrite your money story.
I love that you said that. I really do. I also believe that it's one of those things where there's so much emotion attached to money, whether you have a lot of it or not. It's a really emotional thing. Do you agree?
Yeah, and we think that the more we get, the better we feel, but it's actually, no matter how much you have or how less you have, there's still stress around it if you choose to be stressed. Kyle, my partner, he never stresses about money. He's like, it'll work out. I'm like, God damn you. Like the chillest guy in the Southern Hemisphere, never stresses about money.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate. a little bit, and I don't disagree with him, and I wish I could be more like that. Is this someone that in their childhood never went without?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. He would, but I don't know, I ask him sometimes, like, how do you do that? Like, he's the real mentor.
Nice.
You know, like, I say, how do you do that? He says, I just don't let it affect me. I say, how?
Yeah. It's easier said than done.
He goes for a surf,
Okay.
clears his mind.
And it's all good.
Yeah.
See, what I've learned over the years, I've got this friend who, when we were growing up, he was like that. He never gave a shit about money, and he was, he went through periods where he was literally sleeping on the floor in places, and, I was someone who in my younger years was like, oh, I've got to save every penny, and I was like driven, and I had a budget, and I was like, I'm tight-ass this and that, and he was not like that at all. And I sort of lost connection with him, and we reconnected after like maybe 15 years, and now he's living in complete abundance. He has as much money as you need. He has all the material things that he values and his family need, and I'm just like, I can't believe it. You were sleeping on a camping mattress, in a terrible 2-bedroom unit for years, and you never complained about it, and you were always so stoked and happy. And it's, again, same thing. Like, maybe it's just because he wasn't trying to strangle it, I don't know.
And I also feel like, I go down the rabbit hole on purpose. Like, worst case scenario, right? Like, worst case scenario, you and we don't have any money. It's like, okay, cool. We'll go and stay with, you go and stay with your mum for 2 weeks. I'll stay with my mum for 2 weeks. And then we'll go and stay with the cousins for 2 weeks. And then we'll go and stay with the best friend for 2 weeks. And then, before you know it, you've had 2 to 3 months of people supporting you. And in that time, you can get back on your feet.
Yeah.
Huh? Simple.
It's pretty simple.
But I don't really want to go and live at my parents' house. I like it here.
Do you have a good relationship with your parents?
Yeah.
So you have, as a child, you had some good memories?
I had an interesting childhood.
And do you mind going down that rabbit hole?
I grew up a bit further south in Shell Harbour, Oak Flats area.
So for those that are listening overseas, it's the east coast of Australia, just south of Sydney.
Yeah.
Coastal region.
Yeah. And at the end of year 5, so what age is that? 11, 12 years old?
Yep.
We moved to the Snowy Mountains.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I don't like the cold. And I feel like that age was, I had my girls, and I moved into year 6, the last year of primary school, and I just didn't adapt very well. And, I grew up on the beach, and then all of a sudden we're in the mountains, in the cold, in a really small country town.
Right.
Yeah, so I just remember always having this thought and this feeling like I can't wait to leave.
Okay.
Even though I had a really great friendship group there with the girls that I met, I just always had this feeling like I can't wait to leave. I knew there was more.
Sorry.
Bless you.
I got a tickle in my throat, excuse me.
There's water there.
Oh, there is too. Thank you.
And when I say interesting, I guess what I really mean by that is, I feel like I'm just going to have to really go there, and I can feel myself being in so much resistance.
Why?
Because it's uncomfortable.
Well, you're making yourself vulnerable. You have
I'm
a
vulnerable.
microphone. You have a microphone in your face, and that's immediately making you accountable.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to people, it takes a lot of courage to be on this thing and do what you're doing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I come from a family, what society would call a broken family. So, my mum has been married 3 times. My siblings, you know, we have different fathers. So, you know, but growing up in the early, like 90s, it was never like talked about, you know?
It was a different culture.
Yeah.
But it's quite common.
Oh, it's so common.
It's actually more common than not.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really common. But I guess like when I say interesting is like the dynamic of like my family is that my biological father was very violent, and I don't see him. I haven't seen him since I was 3.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, as I said, growing up in the early 90s, it wasn't talked about. And like before, when we mentioned like I'm very empathic, very intuitive, I was just growing up not understanding really what was happening, what was going on, why wasn't he there. Like I had my own ideas, but it wasn't talked about because for my family it was so painful. But, you know, as a child, you don't understand that. You don't understand that. So you create your own stories and your own beliefs about that situation.
Interesting.
And I know that that experience led me into this work that I do. Like, you know, everybody has a story. Everybody has something. And, you know, this is what we say in yoga, like most people who are on their yoga mats is not because their life is rainbows and fairy floss and unicorns. They are going through things. Everybody's going through things. It's just that I guess, really utilize my pain to put it into purpose. I'm not going to be a victim, you know, to my experience. It wasn't my doing, but I could sit around my whole life and be like, well, you know, this is what happened to me as a child, so that means this, 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 and this. But it also means that I could do fucking awesome things. So that's what I'm going to do.
Sure.
And that's what I do.
You do.
Yeah.
And I said this to you years ago, and I didn't even know you. You're an amazing yoga teacher. And I'm not just like saying that. I've done a lot of yoga over the years, and I could just sense your authenticity through your teaching. You can really sense it when you have a variety of different yoga instructors. You can tell the ones that are coming from a place of deep healing and on their own personal journey, because they're doing it with so much more, I guess, I don't know, soul or belief. And they see themselves more than just like a physical activity instructor.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't feel like I was there to get a workout.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I was there to maybe get cracked open a little bit.
Because that's what it did for me.
Yeah.
Was it cracked me wide open.
And it's a scary place, eh?
Oh, it's so scary but so beautiful at the same time.
Do you think a lot of people are scared of that, of actually... Did it take you... Actually, here's a better question. Did it take you a lot of courage to allow yourself to be cracked open? Or did you feel like you just had to do it?
I feel like I didn't have a choice anymore. I feel like I was just running for so long that there was like a force holding me down, being like, now is your time to acknowledge your sadness, your pain, your anger, your frustration. Now. Like, yeah. I just feel like I didn't have a choice anymore.
Were you just sick and tired of being sick and tired?
I was just self-destructive.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way? Through substance abuse?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I can at times be pulled down that path, but because of my practices of yoga and meditation, I have more of an awareness where I'm like, okay, well, you know, time to chill out a little bit, ground, come back into my body, because that's what yoga is. Like, yeah, sure, you might gain some flexibility and, build some strength. But really, it is every time you get on your mat, you are committed to deepening the relationship with yourself. And how that happens is, like, you would know this, you're in Warrior 2 and the teacher says, hold for 3 more breaths. And you're like, fuck you, I can't hold that for 3 more breaths. And what happens is, you have a reaction internally, but the reaction that you're having isn't towards the teacher or isn't towards you like having to stay for 3 more breaths. It's the sensation in your body.
Right.
And the healing for me was being able to learn to sit in those uncomfortable feelings in yoga, which is the same uncomfortable feelings that were generated as a child. Same. There's no different. And I think that's what people are scared of the most, is that I don't like the word trigger. I really don't like that word because...
I use it all the time.
Hey?
I use that all the time. Why don't you like it?
Because it's... What a trigger actually is and what it's doing is it's activating something within you. It's an activation. This is triggering me is actually your body saying, hey, there's a part of me that I need to acknowledge. There's a part of me that needs my attention. There's a part of me that I have pushed down and ignored for so long, and it is saying, when the fuck are you going to give me the attention that I deeply want and didn't get as a child?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that on here. That's the first time I've ever heard someone acknowledge a trigger as being something that you have to address.
That's what happens when you're in the space of intuitive soul. You go deep.
I feel it. I really feel it. But I've got some questions that I need to clear up before we move on.
Yeah.
Going back to your family life.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested.
Yeah.
Do you yearn for your biological father, even though you don't know him?
No.
You don't?
No, because my father that I do have, who has been in my life since I was 3, I'm going to get emotional. And everybody who knows him and who meets him says he is just the best fucking bloke you'll ever meet. He is, and I know whether it is God, the universe, source, like I know that there was something greater than myself that allowed him to come into my life. I mean, he came into my life and, my mum had 3 children. That's a fucking good bloke, to take on a woman with 3 children. So...
Did he have any of his own?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, but now my younger sister. Yeah. So I never felt that yearning, and I believe that it is because my earliest memory, the first memory that I have in this lifetime, is of him beating up my mum. So
you remember that was one of your, because at 3, such a pivotal time. That's when the memories are really being created. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. So that created a lot of. I was fucking scared. So a lot of the healing work that I have done has been around that particular memory, because it created, as I said, a belief, a story. I have felt unsafe in my life. I have felt unsafe with men. So it's been, like I said, like I got to the point where I couldn't run away anymore. The universe, whether you believe in that or not, there was something being like, you have to deal with that time of your life because that 3-year-old is still inside, you know, and she's sad. She's sad, she's scared, she doesn't understand, you know, and then what happened was as we grew up and then when we moved to Cooma, which was where I grew up in the Snowy Mountains, it was just, this is my family. Nobody knew that, you know, my father wasn't my real biological father, but it was never talked about because it held so much pain. And, you know, not everybody needs to know. It's not something that you say when you meet people, but I felt like I had to hide it. So it creates shame. I don't want you to know this about me because if you do, you're going to think differently about me. That's what shame is.
And you think that was programmed into you at such a young age?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's some of the work that I do with my clients as well is working on, you know, really uncaging yourself from all these conditioning, limiting beliefs and stories because that experience that I had, it's not me. That's not the truth of who I am as a person. That's just something that happened, you know? And like you said before, we identify. That's me. That's like a part of who I am. And yes, it's a part of who I am, but it doesn't have to define me. I feel like that's very different. You know, like you can have shit experiences, which we all do, but you get to choose whether that defines you as a person or not.
I love that you said that. It's one of my favourite messages because, again, it resonates with me because for so long in my personal life, I've defined myself by the past experiences or the past things that happened. I'm like, that was me. I'm a child of a single mother. You know, I'm this, I'm that, from past experiences, and I didn't realize how much it was holding me back. You know, but also I think it also just threw me into a victim mentality. Like I can't do this because of this, and I think being a victim it's a safe place to be.
Yeah,
and when you actually have been a victim, it's familiar. So you're like, even though it's a yucky feeling, but it's familiar. And when something's familiar, it feels like safe in some weird way.
Yeah.
And I actually like doing the Joe Dispenza meditations. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
I know they're not for everyone, but I like how he uses this music with a frequency.
Yeah.
And it somehow just throws me into these deep levels of meditation. And then sometimes I'm just completely over it. And if I have to listen to that guy's voice again, I'm going to cry. But his concept of don't define yourself by the past, define yourself by visions of your future self. You know, so it's like I'm going to define myself as this person that I envision in the future. And it's just so rad. I can be whoever I want.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then that changes constantly too.
Yeah.
So it's good. I really like what you said there. Then the other thing I just wanted to quickly tap into when we're talking about, we talked a little bit about intuition, and that I really believe that, and I agree with you. I've noticed it in my life that women constantly astound me with how much they can read a situation, or even me, or whatever, intuitive. But do men have the potential to be as intuitive as a woman? No.
Two things. I believe that, yeah, for sure, men can be really intuitive, for sure. But it means that they would have to tap into their femininity. And that's scary for men.
Yeah, what does that mean, tapping into your femininity, though? Like crying a lot?
Just feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel.
Can
Look,
you still lift heavy things?
Yeah,
and,
of course.
Just
It's like a feminine woman. It's an energy. Like you could have a woman who's a tomboy and wear baggy shirts and baggy jeans and a flat cap, but she may hold within her a feminine energy that when you see her, you're like, whoa. It's not about your physical self. It's an energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can still be rugged.
Oh, yeah.
Like you still want, I'm assuming you're a heterosexual female.
Yeah.
You still want a man that is, has the characteristics of a man.
Yeah.
Like can build things.
Yeah,
Go and kill dinner and hunt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a bad enough.
Like a vegan over here who eats fish, but okay. So I don't know about the killing and the hunting part, but
1,000 times I put my foot in my mouth, and it won't be the last.
It's totally fine.
But you know what I mean? Like, you still want a man to be a man?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what makes a man?
His vulnerability, like the feminine.
You like that?
Him being vulnerable.
You like that?
Yeah, I love it.
You don't...
Because it creates depth. And I'm a deep person.
Okay.
Can you tell?
I can, but do you think all women feel that way? Because, all I see is a society full of broken relationships. And every woman I speak to says, I just wish he'd man up and just be more of a man, or be more supportive, or, be more understanding, or be more present. You know?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
So it's like, I just feel like, and I'm going to sort of advocate for men a little bit here in terms of, I really feel like there's a lot of men in our society who are confused about their gender role. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I guess, again, I'm predominantly referring to heterosexual relationships. Mm-hmm. I think men don't know where they stand anymore.
That's because women don't know how to open their hearts.
Interesting that you said that.
Yeah. That's what I feel that it comes down to is the women. I just want to backtrack a little bit here. Something that you just said, and this is my intuitive, soul coming through, is all you see is broken relationships. That's a belief that you've got running. Yeah. So just notice that. Yeah. Because that can be true if you want it to be true. And we do that. We have our experiences. And then the women that say that, or it's because we have these experiences and then we use the past experiences and we literally forecast them into the future. But the future actually isn't written. You get to write that. So this is what I mean. Everything is energy. The words that we think, the thoughts that we think, and that's what we create from.
Damn it, you just called me out so hard. Because, my mother and my stepdad have the most beautiful relationship. They're just amazing. They've been together forever.
Yeah.
And they're so in love in their older years. And they're just, so, you got me thinking.
But honestly, when I feel like women are saying about the man, I just want them to step up. Women don't open their hearts enough to let the man know how to step up. And it's not just about saying hey, can you do this? Can you do that? It's about the woman showing her vulnerability. It's about her opening her heart and showing him the parts of herself that she thinks and believes if I showed him this, he would leave. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think it can become a power struggle then, in terms of, a woman not doing that?
Power struggle because the woman's trying to lead and she's probably operating from her masculine So I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to step up to the plate. But she's not actually stepping back and being in her feminine and allowing that space for him to actually do that.
Interesting. And then they get frustrated.
Yeah. So it's also about communication. Kyle and I, my partner, we often have check-ins where we sit down with no distractions, no phone, no Netflix on, and we check in with each other and we ask each other questions. What is something that I've done this week that has made you feel loved? And we ask each other questions and we take note, and it's feedback. What's something that I've done this week that has made you feel underappreciated? So I think that's a massive thing for relationships, is check in with each other. Yeah. And when the other person is answering the question, it's feedback time, which means you don't respond with, oh yeah, but I didn't do that because. It's just ask the question, listen, take note. And then it is about, are you actually committed to working on the relationship? I think that's a massive thing, is if you're not checking in. And guys, they're like databases. You give them information and they'll hold on to that piece of information.
What do you mean?
Like
they'll remember it?
Yeah, like for example, if I said to Kyle, okay, this is deep. Sorry, babe, if you're listening to this. So for example, if we are being intimate with each other and he pulls my hair back and then afterwards, or, he pulls my hair and it's quite firm and I like that. And then afterwards I say to him, I really liked the way that you pulled my hair. It made me feel whatever it made me feel. He's going to remember that. That's feedback. He's going to put that in his database. But I have opened my heart and laid it on the line for him. I really liked that. So
without self-consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without being like, ooh, is this going to be too much?
He's going to think I'm a freak or a weird. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it is about communicating, like not communicating to be like, hey, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. It's like, hey, how are you? What's going on for you? How could we work this out together?
So you think the use of I feel statements is a good place to start in terms of communication?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
as opposed
or
to
when you.
Okay.
Yeah. When you did this, it made me feel. But it's not your blaming, because nobody makes you feel anything. You can choose how you want to feel. This is the work of being in a relationship, a conscious relationship, is that when your partner fucks you off, if you're pointing the finger, I love this. You point one finger, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you.
That's the best. That's the best call, that one.
It's
true.
So when you're pointing, saying you're doing this, you're doing that, it's like, okay, where am I doing that? Where am I doing that? And knowing that when you're feeling an emotion, like you're angry or you're frustrated, it's not because he didn't take, for example, we got a new mattress maybe 9 months ago, and the spare mattress has been in the spare room, and it's taken Kyle 9 months to get rid of that fucking mattress. And I'm fired up.
They're hard to get rid of, though.
They are, actually. We had to drag it up to his dad's house, who lives around the corner, at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, because he forgot about it and the mattress people were coming to pick it up. But the truth at the core, the center of that is, I'm not angry and frustrated at him because he hasn't taken the mattress away. I'm angry and frustrated because I'm not feeling heard and seen. That's what it is at the core.
Interesting.
And we do this as adults, and this is why there's broken relationships, is because we're all operating from the wounded 3-year-old or the wounded 5-year-old who wasn't seen, wasn't heard, wasn't acknowledged, wasn't hugged, wasn't loved. So when your partner does something and it triggers you, aka activates you, your partner is shining a light on the area of yourself that needs attention, and it needs attention from you. Your partner can't actually give it to you.
Yeah.
That is the truth. So that would be my suggestion to all the couples listening that are feeling like they want to reconnect with their partner, is sit down and check in with each other. Like, I guarantee you there would be questions on Google that you could Google to ask, so that you're actually getting the feedback and it's not turning into an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And in my opinion, and listening to what you're saying, is I don't think a lot of couples actually want to break up, but they get to this point where the communication's broken down so far, and they're blaming the other person for those feelings that they're having, but not taking ownership of their part in it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been one of the biggest life lessons I've learned, and I talk about it a lot on this. Like, for me, my biggest breakthrough moment in this life so far was my decision to stop using drugs and alcohol about 9 years ago. So I'm 9 years sober.
Well done.
For what really worked for me personally was participating in a 12-step recovery program. Okay. And it's the steps, and, you know, you can criticize. I mean, people can criticize or judge as much as they want. I don't care. There's a part of it where you have to write down all of your resentments, okay, which is easy. Yeah, like I'm resentful at Shell because she didn't like my microphone stand, you know, and then I've got to find out though, like, then you write that down. That's easy. Oh, I'm angry at her because she didn't like my microphone stand. Then I have to go, well, what is that tapping into with me? Okay, well, this actually threatens my security. It threatens my finances because it's like, I don't know.
And then new mic stand.
Great, thank you. And then it's like, then you have to do this other column that says, well, what was my part in it? And it's like, well, you bought the mic stand. You dickhead.
You didn't actually.
But do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do.
You were making her use that. So, but I feel like people forget that part. And we're so, like you said, and you said it so beautifully, it's like you point one finger, you point three back at yourself. It's pretty spot on.
But it's challenging. I just want to say I'm not an expert at this. I still have moments where I'm like,
no one is.
You know? But it's just having that awareness so that next time you can choose to do better.
Exactly, and it's progress. Like, all the cliches come out, like, it's progress, not perfection. You know, and I just have to be, for me, again, personally, I have to constantly remind myself of those things. It's one day at a time. It's progress, not perfection. What's my part in this? And life does get better. But I think we're talking about relationships, whether it's intimate or friendship relationships or colleagues. So much of it comes down to resentment. And I think people can hold a resentment so readily and they'll sit on that resentment for years. You know what I mean? And those resentments can kill some people.
Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Literally one of my favourite quotes of all time.
I love that shit.
Yeah. It is, though, because they don't give a fuck. They literally don't. They're just happy doing their thing. Meanwhile, we're like,
So true. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, like, what's next for you, you think? Aside from, okay, so we'll break it down a little bit. You have, you've got your history of yoga teaching. You've got your I guess, would you call it like a mentoring business?
Yeah, my mentoring business.
Yeah, and you're also part of another business you were mentioning?
Yeah, I just jumped on board with my partner to help him with his business. He had the idea for it in lockdown last year with noticing everybody had to move online. Everybody had to move online, you know. So he saw a gap in small businesses moving online and really needing support. And I literally say his knowledge with social media, he was born with it in his DNA. I'm not joking. He just knows things. I'm like, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, you do this and you do that. And I'm like, you know how some people are just naturally talented with something?
Like intuitively?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. So that's what he did. He started this business, but when you start your own business, it's a head fuck. People don't talk about this, but your shit comes to the surface. All your insecurities, I'm not good enough, all that stuff comes up when you're running a business. And because I was already doing it, I felt Kyle needed a little bit of a hand, and he asked me to jump on board. So I'm helping him run Low Key, that's what it's called, Low Key Creative Agency. And we are helping small businesses, entrepreneurs, coaches with social media, especially launching and selling.
Okay.
There's a bit of a process to it. What can happen is you put all this time and energy into creating a product or a program, and then you put it out there and no one buys it. And you're left feeling ashamed, embarrassed. You know, that little child within you is not feeling loved, and you throw it all away. So we come from a background in sales. We love selling. And at the end of the day, if you have a business, to keep it going, you need to be generating sales. As whether you want to talk about money and like money or not, that is one of the realities of running a business. So yeah, I've helped him with that. I also feel like I am going through a bit of a shift within my own business. I know that I will always be in this realm, but I feel it shifting big time. And I'm feeling really called to do my own podcast. As I was saying to you earlier, I was on a podcast yesterday with a friend who's just started a podcast, and then literally a few hours later you messaging me saying, hey, can you do the podcast? Like, no pressure, but can you do it tomorrow? And I'm like, yep, let's do it. So yeah, my partner and I, we wanted to start a podcast, but I'm just intuitively feeling as though I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and he can just be a regular guest speaker. I am here to talk. Like, I've never seen the movie, but I know a little bit what it's about. The movie Signs. You know, there's always signs. We're always getting signs from.
I haven't seen it. Is it on Netflix?
I watched another movie on Stan actually, and I can't remember the name of it, but he was talking about Signs, the movie, how everything is connected. Every day there's little signs that pop up, and they're always there. It's just, do you have the awareness of seeing them?
That's true.
So I went to Carl Barron a couple of weekends ago.
How was it?
Oh, it was so good.
He's so funny.
He's so, it's so simple. It's like, how is that funny? But it's only funny to Australians.
You think?
Yeah, because he was saying when he goes and tours and he goes to London, he goes to his shows in London, it's just drunk Australians going, Carl, you know? Yeah. So, but he was saying something, and he was saying that when he was at school, all his teachers and all his report cards were like, Carl is the class clown, you know? And I'm like, that's a sign that he was meant to be a comedian in his life. And look at him, he sold out shows 3 nights in a row at Wynn Entertainment Centre. And literally a few days later, I went home and went through like my yearbook, And I was looking at all my school reports and it says, Shoal is talkative, she's disruptive. And I was like, that's a sign, I'm meant to talk.
Dude, own that.
And one of my biggest visions that I have is speaking on stage and getting people in their bodies. Music, moving, dancing, and just speaking about life. Like, hey, you there in the crowd with your hand up, what is going on for you? Let's talk about it. Let's give your inner child some love. Let's be vulnerable in front of all these people so that you can feel connected to life.
Are you intrigued by humans?
Human behavior fascinates me.
The human condition?
Oh, yeah. And just why we are the way we are, why we do things. Like when people do things, for example, I had this conversation with my sister and my brother-in-law a couple of weeks ago, Barley 9.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about those guys.
Like, what was in their minds to agree to do that, knowing the consequences? Like, I read something about, there was 9 of them. The 2 youngest ones were like 17 and 18. He said, well, 20 grand, cool, I could buy a new car. But to me, I would be like, nah.
Too big a risk.
It doesn't mean I don't take big risks, because I do. But I know the consequence. So that's what I'm fascinated by, when people make decisions or they behave in a certain way, why? What is going on for them to make that choice for themselves, knowing the consequence?
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I'm doing human design. Because...
Okay, define the term human design. So you're...
It's a modality.
To design their life?
No.
Okay.
So it's look, I'm very new. It's why I'm an apprentice, but I'll tell you what I know, short and sweet version. It's a modality that incorporates 5 other modalities like the chakras, astrology. Look, that's all into one.
Okay.
And it's called your human design chart, and it's based around your energetic blueprint for this life and what you're here to do. So one thing that I know that I'm here to do, which it says in my chart, is I am here to talk about my beliefs and about my ideas. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm feeling as though I'm being really pulled and called to talk. Like, I love to talk. Like,
talking with a purpose, though? Or talking just to brainstorm concepts and ideas? Or
talking when I feel the intuitive hit.
Right.
Yeah.
And that hits you hard sometimes?
Oh, yeah, it's so strong. It's so strong sometimes I don't know what to do with it. I'm still learning.
Have you ever heard of the term HSP?
No. What's that?
Highly sensitive person.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
This guy was saying it to me once. He's like, oh, no, I was a HSP. I'm a HSP. I'm like, what's a HSP? He's like, oh, highly sensitive person. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. Sorry.
A lot of highly sensitive people are also because they've experienced trauma.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Is it? Interesting.
And, okay, so I believe that everybody experiences trauma to some degree, whether that be a big T or a little t, like, domestic violence, that's a big T. But falling off your bike and breaking your arm, that's traumatic.
It is.
Yeah.
I learned something about trauma from my last guest. I thought I knew it all, because I think I know stuff sometimes.
We know nothing.
No, and that's what I'm learning. The more I learn, the more I realise I don't know. But when someone repeats a narrative of a situation over and over and over, he said that is a sign of trauma. And I didn't realise, and I've had, like most people, I've had traumatic incidents in my life. And I will tell that story over and over and over. And then I realised with a couple of stories in particular I don't want to go into, that I'm telling those stories all the time. And what I'm doing is I'm tweaking the narrative slightly every time to make it palatable for my heart and my soul. But really, I'm not dealing with that trauma. I haven't addressed it. And he called me out. He said, yeah, you've got unresolved trauma here, and I know because you keep repetitively telling that story. So he was at this surf spot in Indonesia called G-Land after they had a huge tsunami, and it was quite a famous incident. It wiped out all the surf camps, but the surfers were there. They were sleeping in the middle of the night. This big wave came, and they had to climb trees, and they're hanging off palm trees for hours on end,
That's
for their
fucking
lives.
traumatic.
And he said they turned up a week later because, as dickhead surfers in the 90s thought, oh, well, there'll be no one surfing G-Land because of what happened. I know. Right. And he admits it. He goes, it was a dickhead move. But he met those other surfers and he goes, we could not count how many times those surfers told us about when the wave hit. And well, it's just like, I'd look at them sometimes and go, yeah, you just told me that. And then they don't even know they're doing it.
It's like what you said before, though, about safety. You know, like even though when something's uncomfortable, it's like you retell the story to re-traumatize yourself because that has become safe.
It's familiar.
Familiar. The unknown is scary.
It is. But is that where the magic happens?
Yes, it is. The magic happens when you step over the edge, when there is something that you know deep down in your bones, in your cells, that you are being called to do, and you do it even if it scares you, even if everybody else around you is saying, oh, don't do that. Oh, are you sure that's the right thing to do? But you know, you can't explain it. You just know. That's where the magic happens. That's when people say, like, you jump off the cliff.
You seem like you're in a really good stage in your life. You're in a good season.
I am in a good season. I feel that. I just came out of a really fucked season.
Why?
Lockdown, second lockdown. And look, everybody, but it really hit me. I was diagnosed with depression, something that I've never experienced before. It actually snapped me out of it, though. This is me personally, I don't like labels. I don't like being defined by something, and depression is not who I am. It was just an experience for me, and it meant for me to move beyond that, I had to get really vulnerable, and that was really hard. I had to reach out to people. I reached out to the yoga studio that I'm now teaching at, because I stopped teaching yoga during lockdown. I was teaching full-time for 6 years and I missed being a student. I was just teacher. So I had to reach out and say, like, hey, can I come and teach a class?
Yeah.
You know, and just being in a studio, being around community again has shifted things for me big time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do feel like I'm in a good season, but I'm not attached to this season because I know it will change. And that's the thing is...
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, like there's always going to be good things and bad things, but I think the suffering comes from when something's really good and we try and attach ourselves and hold on to it. Or the suffering comes from when something's really, really bad.
Yes.
And we're like, I just want this to end, and we try and push it away. It's about being neutral. Oh, wow, this is awesome. Cool, this will change. Oh, this is shit. Oh, cool, this will change too.
That's so interesting. I love that you talked about non-attachment. My friend talks about it and he said you can't be attached to anything, even your kids. I'm like, what?
What about a rabbit? I'm attached to my rabbit.
I know. But we're all born to die.
Yeah, we are. We're all dying.
We're dying.
Some just in different ways and maybe quicker than others, but it's part of nature. Law of nature is You look at that tree and you know that those leaves on that tree haven't always been there, and they won't always been there. That's the reflection, is everything in your life is changing, and whether you like change or not, it is the only constant thing.
It so is. It so is.
Yeah.
Give us your top 5 self-care tips. I like how the hands go by. so gangster.
Only 5? Okay.
I'll give you 20.
Okay. Top 5?
Give us top 5.
Self-care. Number 1, have fucking fun.
Okay.
Have fun.
All right.
In your life. Do something that is fun.
Okay. Check.
It doesn't matter what it is, but we don't play as adults.
We don't play as adults,
No,
do we?
and it's important. It creates a really good energy. Yeah.
All this talk about energy, so many people hear the word energy and go, that's some woo-woo bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in it because everything's energy and frequency.
Yeah.
If you use a mobile phone.
What do you think sound is?
Exactly. I know, that's what I'm going to say to the next bogan that says, fuck off with your energy bullshit.
They're just scared. They're just scared because it's something that they don't know.
True. Number 2.
Turn your phone off.
Oh, shit, sorry, I'm filming you right now.
That's okay. But turn your phone off every weekend, once a month, like something where you're not looking at a screen.
Okay.
I'm not like, oh, have a nice bubble bath, self-care type of woman. I'm like, turn your phone off and be in nature.
Okay.
Like, be in nature.
Go for a nature walk?
Yeah, go for a nature walk.
Okay, that's 3.
Yeah. Go for a nature walk. Oh, okay, now I've got 2 left. Self-care. Nature walk. Okay, let's go back to 3. Nature walk, but like just something in moving your body.
Okay.
Not punishing yourself because you ate a pizza last night and you think you have to lose weight.
Okay.
But just moving your body outside. Surfing, going for a nature walk. Just be connected to the elements. Number 4, self-care. Have a really good support network.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Get yourself in a community. Get yourself a mentor, someone that you can turn to support you. It's part of self-care is knowing that you don't have to do life alone. We are not designed to do life alone.
True.
Ask for help. Hey, can you help me? Ask. And number 5 would be...
I've put you on the spot. I'm sorry about that.
I know.
Sorry. Because I know you've got heaps, but then thinking you off the top of your head is never easy. But you've nailed it so far.
Number 5 is, I wanted to say meditation, but I'm not going to pick it because, look, it's not for everyone. Like I said before,
Thanks for saying that.
It isn't for everybody. For me, self-care would come down to also just spending time on your own. Spending time on your own is so important. Like, I remember in my early 20s, like every time I got like time on my own, I'd pick up my phone and I'd be like, who can I call? And I'd call somebody. If they didn't answer, I'd go to the next person. I couldn't spend time on my own. Yeah. But I think it just happens when you get older. You're more comfortable being on your own. But spend time on your own and fuel your body with food that nourishes you. I'm not going to tell you what type of food that is because I'm not into this like that's good food, that's bad food. But that gives you energy.
Nice. Lovely. That's great.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. You mentioned you're a vegan.
Well, I was a vegan for a long time. I haven't eaten like meat and fish since like meat and chicken since like maybe 2007.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't stop thinking about fish.
How good is it?
So I eat fish, but apart from the fish, the rest of my diet is vegan. I feel like the fish is brain food. And I'm all about listening and honouring when my body is telling me something.
Like it needs some sort of nutrient from that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And we eat fish a lot. And I really enjoy it. And I think that's the most important thing is like if you're vegan, because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my God, you're not vegan. If you're vegan and you are not enjoying it and all you're doing is thinking about eating fish or chicken, then do it.
Okay.
You know, if you're into things like it being organically farmed, like, you know, don't buy from Woolworths, buy from a nice butcher or something.
Gotcha.
But your health and your body and what your body is saying to you is more important than being in a society label and box of vegan to me.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that because I think a lot of vegans get dubbed as being radical at times, and there is radical vegans. I've met them.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But in the same token, I respect them because they've made a choice and they're sticking to that. They're not sitting on the fence at all. And yeah, I respect anyone that won't sit on the fence and go, I'm going all in on this, you know. We don't have to like them. I don't have to agree with them, but I respect it.
I've actually, truthfully, if we want to talk about labels, I've never really been a vegan because even when I didn't eat fish, I always had honey in my chai. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You abuse those poor bees. Yeah. And that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. But for me, going on about self-care is that when I'm running rough, for me personally, the first thing I go to is health and nutrition. So
yeah, basics.
Yeah, I just go all in on good diet, all in on exercise. I have to move, and I can't sit and meditate. I still practice it, but I find I get my meditation from doing physical activity. It could be, like surfing. Surfing is meditation, but for me, I actually get it more from skateboarding by myself. And I'll start to go, I want to learn this trick, and I'll just be focused on that trick, trying it over and over and breaking it down. What do I have to do here? Where do I need to move my foot? And I just see that as a meditation in itself.
Moving meditation. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. How you feeling?
Can we just keep talking for another 3 hours?
Sure.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I'm glad. You, like you said, that you feel like you're born to talk.
Yeah.
You're a great speaker. You're quite engaging. I just feel myself every time you speak, I feel myself locking in quite easily. Yeah, and you have a nice tone in your voice. So I think
I always feel like I sound bogan.
Well, that's a pretty harsh criticism of yourself. You need to change that.
Yeah,
narrative.
I really need to change that story.
You're a product of the country you were born in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, I get that a lot with myself because I listen to my own voice a lot when I edit and things like that. And it's, oh my God, I can be so critical. I'm like, oh my God, things I constantly say to myself, which I'm stopping, and I make a conscious decision to stop. It's like, oh, you sound like a bogan, and oh, you sounded so dumb when you said that. All the time. And, and also I speak to a lot of Americans, and, sometimes when I compare my accent to theirs, I realise how much Australians have this tendency to not complete their words.
Yes.
And I've really noticed it. So I'm consciously trying to articulate better. But I grew up in Nowra, for God's sake.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I got the Nowra. You can take the boy out of Nowra, but you can't take the Nowra out of the boy.
Oh, I would have never picked that.
I haven't lived there for many years. I left there when I was 17 because I just couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
I was like, if I leave here, my whole life is going to be so much better. And that discontent that's in me is going to just go away. And now, like, having lived there for probably, like, 30 years and the discontent still lingers. Like, I'm not any happier, you know. And I just really believe it's not where you are, it's where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that really resonates with me. And especially after travelling the world as well, like, I keep thinking if I travel here, I'll just be happier. If I live here for a while, I'll be happier. But it follows you.
Oh, it so follows you.
So get right and you'll be okay anywhere you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's what a lot of people in prison would have to do. Get a life sentence.
I know, and this will probably spin people out because I do believe in past lives.
You're again, like, I think my last two guests, Jake McKenzie, if you listen to that episode, he talks so much about that. Okay, tell me about what he believes in past lives.
It's just so weird. So when I say weird, nothing is a coincidence, but I know that I've been in jail in a past life. Like, I am so scared of going to jail.
Interesting.
Yeah, like...
I mean, everyone is. But you've got to... You go into terror over the thought.
Oh, yeah. So I went to, Vipassana meditation.
The silence retreat?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yes.
Yeah, so
It's my worst nightmare.
Keep going. I've done it a few times. They have the pagoda, which is like cells. When you have completed your first 10-day silent sit, when you go back and do another 10 days, you're considered an old student now, not a new student. And you can go into the pagoda in the meditation times to sit and meditate in a cell, a little block cell. And you will not get me in there.
Interesting.
I'm like, nope, I don't want to go near it. I don't even want to look in there. There is just something about jail that is like, it's so irrational. It's not real, but I just feel like in a past life I've been in jail.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I believe it. Maybe that's where some of your fears come from. I mean, I was so terrified of water for years.
Maybe you drowned in a past life.
No, but I almost drowned when I was 2 years old in the bottom of a pool, and I don't remember it. But I vaguely remember my auntie pulling me up by my hair. And I was sitting on the bottom looking up going, oh, this is fun. But I was drowning. I was the classic 2-year-old falling into a backyard pool. But I forgot about it. And my auntie at my uncle's funeral, shit, I was about to cry. My auntie at my uncle's funeral said, do you remember when I saved your life that time? It was a trip. Yeah. So maybe that's why I was so scared of water for many years, but that's also driven my surfing because I'm like, when I'm scared, that's when I make myself go in the ocean. If the waves look big and scary, I'm like, it's innate. I've got to face that. It's driven me. But it's been driven by ego too.
When we can't remember with the mind, the body always does.
Yeah.
So even though as humans we may feel like we can't remember things, the body never, ever, ever forgets. The body always knows. The body is holding the memories even if we can't remember with a visual. So your body would be holding that fear and that experience, and that's a trauma.
Are you saying our bodies are smarter than we give it credit for?
Totally.
Yeah, I think I've heard that before.
Totally. Like, I am so in tune with my body. I don't believe that anybody knows my body better than me. Nobody does.
Sounds like a bit of an egotistical thing to say, because would your body agree with you?
Yes, my body would agree because it's always in communication with us.
See, that's deep.
Like, I'm pretty natural. I like natural things. I was quite unwell a couple of years ago. I haven't been to the doctors in almost 3 years.
Wow.
Because the last time I went, I was saying to the doctor, there's something wrong. And look, I'm not... Look, if I'm got hit by a car, doctor, save me. You know what I mean? But I think we become disconnected from the body and we're unable to listen to our intuition is because we place the knowing in other people. You know better than me. But I kept saying there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And yes, people make mistakes, but I knew there There was something wrong.
Interesting.
And that, for me, was, Shell, trust your intuition more than what you are now. So when I have experiences like that, it's like you've passed this level of trusting your intuition almost, like.
Wow, you go to another level.
Yeah, because when stuff like that happens again, I'm like, hold on a minute. It's like you use the evidence to be able to create that trust muscle. That's what intuition is. It is you are building a muscle to trust yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I made sorry I called you egotistical there.
That's
I didn't mean
okay.
that.
We're all ego.
That's what I meant. I meant to say, because I just know how powerful the ego is in a lot of people. I mean, in myself mainly, but it's like, yeah, I do love that listening to the body. I think we give ownership of our health to people who don't know our body as well as us so readily. When we need to maybe start this journey of learning about it, right? And that's what you like to do with women, right?
Yeah, what works for one body doesn't work for all bodies. It's about finding what works for you, and that's about experimenting, fucking up, messing up, trying things on. But isn't that really what we're here to do? Like, for me, I'd rather try something than not try it at all because I'm in fear of like, oh, but what if?
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shell, it's been epic. It's been really nice. Yeah. Just I don't know. It's funny, like when I first started the podcast, I was really in a really good place mentally and physically, and I was in this place of like I was really connected to my version of a higher power. I just really was learning about prayer. I'm not religious, but I was really learning about the concept of prayer, and I do believe in some type of higher power. Some people call it spirit of the universe, and I really just had this feeling one day. I was on a motorbike in Denpasar, Bali, and it was like 8 deep in traffic, and it was like the first time in my life this voice came into my head and said, you need to start a podcast. Maybe that's what you're going through at the moment.
That's intuition.
Yeah, and I went, and I literally just Google mapped where can I buy microphones and a recorder. I didn't know what I was doing and just bought some. Sorry, a bit of a long story. But the point I'm trying to make is, and then what I did with all my guests, I would pray for when the next guest would appear. And I'm like, because I was very much driven by like, I want to hear stories, but I want these stories to be real and honest so other people can identify with the stories, and then that might give them some type of realization, and then that could lead to some type of healing, and they had to hear that person's journey exactly how it happened for them, and because that's how it happened for some random person. And I see it time and time again now, but I really have drifted away from it, that original concept, and I find myself getting caught up in numbers of downloads and how can I generate more revenue. You know, how can this generate more revenue? And I've actually, in the last few weeks, it's been really hitting me hard. I'm like, I've got to stop looking at the numbers and things like that.
Yeah, it's a head fuck.
And so then, sorry, Shell, to keep going, but I'm almost finished. And then I was in this really funny sort of place where I just had, like I usually have a schedule of guests for weeks in advance. And in this instance, I just stopped lining up guests. I wasn't replying to anyone. I just was letting them fall away, and I'm usually 3 weeks in advance, and I just was not. I'm just like, the podcast might die. I'm just going to let it die a slow death and just not do it. Seriously, I'm being as real as I can be, and I literally like prayed for the first time in months about, okay, if the podcast is going to die, like, should the podcast die? And, you know, if it's going to die, should I just put the guest in, the right guest? Give me a guest then. And I swear to God, thank you, Instagram, like, because you know how the algorithm can hear your thoughts.
Literally.
And it's just like something about you popped up, and I went, I need to ask her. And I was like, can you do it tomorrow? You're like, yeah. So that's the backstory behind my. And are you up for it? Yep. Tomorrow? Yep. And you're like, yes. And just after having this awesome conversation, I hate talking too much on here, but I just feel really like renewed and re-energized. So thanks.
Thank you.
There
I
you
think
go.
because you connected back to your, like, why you started in the first place.
Maybe, hey.
Yeah. And see how easy it was? Like, you let go. This is energy. You let go and was like, I don't have anybody lined up. Then you found me. Can you do it tomorrow? Yep. See how it was so effortless? That's you in flow.
Okay.
That's when people talk about like being in flow. There was no like It was just like, can you do it? Yeah. You came over. There was no effort because energetically you let the control go. So just breathe. The next person they're here. The next person for the podcast is here and you don't even have to do anything. You actually don't have to do anything. The universe will send them your way, just like this.
So you're saying that if you have to force a decision or force something, it's not the right decision, usually? So, okay, I'll say it again. If it's the right decision, it'll be an easy one. Would you believe in that statement?
I feel like this is why spending time in nature is so important, because a flower never forces itself to open. It only opens when it's ready. Not like the day before or the day after. Effortlessly opens and there's no force. So if you're forcing something in your life and it's not working, stop. It's actually like the universe saying to you, hey, just turn your direction over this way a little bit. Because what you're actually looking for is over here. It's not over there. Except we get so caught up in the mind of like, this is how it's going to be. This is the way it's going to work out. This is the way it's going to go. And then we try and force something. And then all that ends up happening is we get frustrated. But if we just turned the corner and took a step back, things just happen like effortlessly. That's how you know when you are on the right path is, oh, that was so easy. Oh, she just appeared and now she's on the podcast. Oh, yeah. I feel like force is like the undeveloped masculine. I've got to force this to work.
But you can't sit idle either.
No, it's about having a balance. Yeah. And like, but we don't live in a balanced world. We actually don't, which is one of the reasons why I decided to start my own business, was because to me, it is crazy to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. For what?
Someone else's dream?
Exactly.
So you're working for your own dream?
I'm working for my values. My top 2 values in my life is freedom and adventure. I don't want to not be able to do something or go somewhere or spend time with the people I love because I've got to go and work for somebody else. That's not living to me. Like my sister just had a baby. He's 2 weeks old. I don't want to not be able to spend time with her and my nephew because I have to work for someone else's dream. That's my family, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know where that came from just then, but like life can be effortless. It really can be. Doesn't mean you're not going to be challenged, right? It doesn't mean you're not going to be challenged, but you can live an effortless life by stop forcing the things that aren't working. You know, like, sure, you can have like Like you said, like you have to still take action, or when you're challenged by something, you've got to work through it. But you'll know the difference because your body will tell you. Your body will tell you.
And then you'll get more and the more you get in tune with that, those choices become easier, or it becomes, the intuition becomes stronger.
Yeah, you build your trust muscle in trusting yourself. Like, I'm just not feeling like this is the right thing for me at this moment in time.
So would you call it an intuitive sense?
Yeah, I have a it's a knowing clairsentience.
And sometimes it just comes to you?
Yeah, it comes to me, or it's a feeling. I get a feeling, an emotion.
See, some religions would say that's God speaking to you.
It is. It's just I guess it just depends what term you like to use. But like you said, you were on your bike in Bali. You've got to start a podcast. Like, that was God. That was spirit. That was universe. That was intuition. It's just you are in a conversation with something other than your ego.
Yes.
That's all it is. And we came from that place. Like, we came from source. We came from somewhere. Like, before we landed as the egg, this is what they say in, like, you know, the yoga world is you're an energy and you're orbiting the realm, the universal realm. And then when you land into the womb, you were an energy before you became a physical thing.
Gotcha.
So that's where we go back to. That's what we're in communication with. That never ends. That is eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Have you ever heard that saying, Shell? When you have anxiety, it means the more anxiety you have, it means the further you are away from God.
I feel like it's God trying to wake you up.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And with that, and I love that. And so going in line with that way of thinking, it's like, yeah, anxiety doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing.
No.
It can just be hey, I got to listen to that. Where do I need to take action here?
Yeah, it's a message.
It's a message.
Yeah.
But people go, oh, this is the worst thing ever. I mean, I do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've suffered. I know anxiety can be so debilitating.
Oh.
But when I heard that, it's like, yeah, it just means I'm not listening to I'm not getting the downloads off whatever the higher power is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever you want to label it as.
Yeah.
Or not label it, however you identify.
Yeah, whatever resonates with you. Because the word God doesn't resonate for everybody.
No.
So I like to use source or universe. But totally, I fully agree with you. I feel like anxiety is a wake-up call for people to look at their lives and look at what is in my life right now that doesn't get me fucking lit, basically. And what can I do to change that? Like, if
so you want to feel lit up.
Yes. Like, if you are waking up and going to a job 5 days a week where every single day you wake up and you go, oh, and you're then feeling anxious before you're going to work, that is your soul saying to you, this is not where you are meant to be. That's what I believe anxiety is on an energetic level. Anxiety is your body vibrating at a really high frequency to say, hey, 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 are you going to listen to me? Hey, 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 hey. That's anxiety. Hey, 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 because you're not listening. You're not listening to all the signs that the universe is literally putting in front of you every day to say, hey, just go this way.
What do you say to people who medicate that?
Who what?
They medicate. They medicate that feeling.
I feel... So when I was diagnosed with depression, the first thing the doctor said was, you can take medication. I said no. I also understand that it is also needed for people. And I'm not like, just because I personally wouldn't take it, because I want to feel. I'm a feeler. I'm a deep feeler. I feel like if people are medicated and that's part of their journey for now, that's okay. That's their journey. I think we get too caught up in like, yeah, but so-and-so isn't taking the medication and, well, but yeah, so-and-so is. Who gives a fuck about them? What about you?
Yeah.
You know, like just stay focused on where you're at and what's working for you. And like the law of nature, things always change. Seasons are seasons. It doesn't mean that that person is going to be on that medication forever.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not a doctor, FYI.
Understand.
And if they are, that's part of their journey for their soul in this lifetime. I'm a huge believer in soul contracts. I literally believe that we are like, we look down on earth from up there and go, ooh, that looks fun. I want to go down there and have an experience. And what's all that about? And God's like, okay, are you sure you want to go down? And we're like, yeah, I really want to go down. He's like, okay, sign here on the dotted line, sign here. And we literally sign. That's a soul contract. I'm agreeing to go down onto earth in this birthday suit as Shell. And when my time is up, I will come back. Are you sure? Sign again. And then we go down. And then we have an experience of life.
So
and that, you know, that, I'm pretty sure I learnt that through yoga, but that concept has helped me so much with the concept of death, because we are so afraid of death as humans. It's not talked about, it's taboo, but we all are going to die.
Are you afraid to die?
No. And the only reason that I'm not afraid to die is because it was when I was living in London, so 10 years ago now, I went through this really death anxiety. I was so scared that I was going to die. I was so scared that my partner at the time was going to die. I was so scared that all my friends and my family were going to die. And it actually came from hearing about an Australian girl who had died local to this area. I didn't know her, but I saw a lot of similar traits within ourselves, and I just freaked. And I spent probably a good 9 months to a year. I've actually never told anybody this, but my partner at the time was like, Shell, you need to stop. But I was so scared of dying. And then I started yoga. And this is what yoga is, teaching you about life, teaching you about seasons, teaching you about cycles. Like, I know that I'm not going to be here forever. I know that everybody I know isn't going to be here forever. But I signed a soul contract that when I came into this life, I was going to come into this life with my parents, even though, you know, that first couple of years wasn't a nice experience. And then one day, whatever date that is in the very near future, I will leave. But I signed up for that when I came here.
Have you ever had the concept that children choose their parents?
For sure, they are our biggest teachers.
Yeah, so, yeah, the child's spirit actually has already chosen those parents. So,
do you believe that?
Well, I want to believe it because it's quite comforting as a parent.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, you do spend a lot of time doubting yourself and falling into shame a lot and maybe guilt, remorse, like you're not doing a good job. These are common feelings that come up for me as a parent, and I know other parents that have said they feel the same. So that concept that, you know, these little angels that came in have chosen you to be their parents because they need to learn something from you. It kind of just gives me permission to be human.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know that I'm a good person in my core, but I'm flawed. I'm a flawed human. And that's okay. And I've realised that my little ones have as much to learn from my defects of character as they do of my better aspects. That being said, in no way do I want to cause them any... You know, I want to avoid causing any type of harm, you know, especially emotional harm, because that I feel like that can happen quite easily and unexpected. But this is good. I don't know how we got here, but it's cool. I really like what you're talking about.
I think it goes back to you choose your parents because, like,
Why? Yeah.
Well, I can only speak from my own experience. My experience of choosing my parents is that, you know, those unpleasant times doesn't define me. I got to choose who I want to be regardless. That was my lesson.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. You can still choose regardless. Because it's so easy for us to blame our parents. Like, I'm fucked up because of you. But again, one finger pointing, three fingers pointing back. But what did you learn? What did you learn from that? You know, that's where the magic is how you can use that experience to be a good human and do good things and help other people. That's it. That's it.
This is just an overall summary. Like, isn't this life a trip? It's such a trip.
It's just like being on acid 24/7.
It is. I've been thinking that a lot lately. Like, I just, without sounding too much like a full-on tripper, I'm just like, sometimes I'd have moments I look around and I'm like, is this real or am I actually dreaming? You know, like I had a moment just in Bali like last week and I was surfing and the waves were amazing and there was hardly anyone out and then Kelly Slater paddled out.
What?
Yeah, because it was like G-Land Adventure just finished and he was just on holidays finished and he paddled out and, you know, but I wasn't surfing near him, but I was just sort of watching him and that guy's like just got this aura. He's just got this aura. You can just feel it. I'm just like...
Were you starstruck?
Yeah, and then like one of my other favourite surfers of all time paddled past me, this guy Nathan Fletcher. He surfed like the biggest wave ever at Chopu. And I just was like, I'm in a dream, you know? And then it's like, I just got this beautiful magical wave. It didn't have any bump on it. Like, it was so glassy and I could see the reef below as I'm riding the wave and I'm just like I'm tripping, you know. But then conversely, I have really dark days too, where I'm just like, it's the worst. I can't bear this life anymore.
I actually had a client who asked me yesterday, she was like, have you ever had this experience where your emotions are just so intense and so much that you feel like you just don't want to be here? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think that's pretty normal and it's called contrast.
Okay.
You know, like the moon doesn't exist without the sun and the sun doesn't exist without the moon.
But is there something wrong with me that I feel those extremes? You know, like, would that be regarded as bipolar? You know, do you know what I mean? Like that I can have these moments of euphoria, which really I live for, and then these moments of, you know, to be honest, they're not that often, but I do have moments of despair.
Again, I'm not a doctor, FYI. From my experience and what I believe is we have created this unrealistic expectation that we are meant to feel good all the time.
Thank you. I know.
So when we have what we call a bad day, we're like, oh my God, I've got bipolar. But
so true. It's not forever.
It's not forever. Is it true? A label doesn't define you.
Doesn't.
And what you'll notice is, like the seasons, that moment always shifts. But the suffering in that moment is, I don't like this, I just want it to go away. Whereas if we had that awareness and that compassion, wow, this is fucking challenging right now. This is really uncomfortable for me. I'm feeling really challenged by my emotional state. I'm going to go back to basics, make sure I'm getting my 2 liters of water, eating some nourishing food, getting my sun in the face, reaching out to somebody, you know?
Yeah.
I just feel as though as humans we overcomplicate things a lot. And again, like, okay, so let's say, for example, yep, you're bipolar. What does that change anything, really?
Well, I Googled it.
Oh, no, never turn to Dr. Google. And did it make you feel better or worse?
It made me feel better. I don't fit the...
You don't fit the label.
Yeah, but look, I'm very cognizant of the fact that there are people listening that are suffering.
For sure.
And
yeah.
they are living with a diagnosis, and I definitely don't want to discredit any of that. And if anything, I want to talk about it to normalise it and say that it's okay and it's going to be okay, and you just need to do what you need to do. So I'm a huge advocate for therapy, and I'm a huge advocate for the use of medication if it's serving you, for sure. You know, there's no judgment here, and I think that's the biggest thing I want to work on is judgment, and also judgment of myself. You know, like, but it was funny. Like, I wanted to create some diagnoses for myself because it's safe. It's like, well, that's why I'm fucked.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with me. But it's the human condition.
But we're not. This is the thing. We're so conditioned to believe because I had an experience, I'm now broken. But you're not broken. Even if you were, for example, diagnosed with bipolar, it doesn't mean that you're broken and that you need fixing. And I feel like what happens is when people are diagnosed and they're put into a box or they have a label, is it creates shame. And then shame creates disconnection. They feel disconnected from themselves. They feel disconnected from other people because they are scared that if that person found out about this thing that I'm experiencing, they will not love me, they will not like me. That's the real problem, I believe.
Define shame. I can help you if you need it. I've got a personal definition. Or, yeah. How would you define shame?
You have an experience or there's something about you that you're holding on to and it's a secret. That's what it is. Shame is a secret about yourself that you don't want anybody to know because you're embarrassed.
Yeah.
You feel that people will judge you. You feel that people will not love you. You feel that people will not be your friend. That's what shame is. I don't want anybody to know this about me because they will feel differently about me. I will be unloved.
It's great. Thanks for sharing that. For me, it's feelings of worthlessness. So if I make a mistake, boom, straight away my head starts going, you are useless, you worthless, oh my God. Like, yeah, I go into it straight away. I just beat myself up. Like, oh, I can't believe you did that, you idiot. You know, and it's driven me for so long. And I didn't realise that it was shame. Would you agree? No.
Yeah, I would say, like, I guess everybody's going to have a different definition. And I don't believe there's like one right way, but also you're telling yourself that story, right? But it could also have been because someone else was telling you that and you have taken that on as your truth, but it's not you. You know, like sometimes we hear things, you know, like, for example, I'm not saying this happened, but like, you know, maybe you did something once as a child and somebody said to you, oh, you're so stupid. So then so now forevermore, I'm stupid, but you're not.
Thank you for saying that.
I can guarantee you with all this gear and setup and how tech you are and you've self-taught yourself, you're not stupid.
Thank you.
But, you know, it's not like I could sit here for the next 17 days and say you're not stupid, but you're still going to feel that way.
Here's one last concept to throw at you, though. That has also driven me and propelled me in life to achieve things.
Say that again.
So that
that shame, that narrative of you're stupid has also been a motivator to achieve things. And because of that, I've actually achieved some things. That was my driving force to prove that I'm not stupid to myself and others.
Yeah, because there's always a blessing in the shadow.
Is that toxic or what though?
No, because that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah?
I like that. Yeah. Anyway, thought I'd share that with you, seeing that I'm just basically spilling my guts here on Shell's therapy lounge. Listen, Shell, it's been epic. I ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause they want to support or advocate for.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us today?
Friends with Dignity.
Oh.
Has anybody had this one before?
No.
Can you remember?
No, I haven't. I remember everything.
It is a Australian non-for-profit charity.
Okay.
And they provide programs to assist families who are domestic violence survivors.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Resonates with you?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, thanks. I'll put a link to that in this episode's show notes. So if you scroll down, you can click on it. I always advocate for getting involved and seeing how you can provide physical support, but donating is always good. Patreon subscription money will be donated to the causes that are advocated for on this podcast. So become a Patreon of THT. You'll find a link in this episode's show notes as well. And there's also links on terriblehappytalks.com. You can also find this podcast on a variety of different platforms other than the one you're listening to right now, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Overcast. But whatever platform you like to listen on, please leave a review, maybe rate it. Those things help me to extend the messages of legends such as Shell Whitbred. Is that how you say his surname?
Whitbred.
Did I say it?
Yeah, you did.
Did. Are you gluten intolerant? Is that too personal?
Oh, you know, it's like I go to a cafe and I'm like, can I please get gluten-free bread? And they're like, oh, you celiac? And I'm like, no. They're like, oh, so you can have gluten. Yeah. No, I just ask for gluten-free bread. I just get bloated. My stomach doesn't enjoy it.
I just feel better when I don't eat it.
I don't feel as heavy.
I think better.
Yeah, because everything is an energy.
Even bread?
Yes.
Bread's dead though.
Yeah, but if you have a loaf of bread that's mouldy and you have a loaf of bread that's fresh, what do you think the energy is going to be in those two loaves of bread?
True.
You know?
But I'm going to get deep. Like the mould is from fungus. Fungus is part of the mycelium network. It might have psilocybin in it. Do you know what that is?
Isn't that like good for you?
Yeah, it's good for you.
No,
no, it's the active ingredient in magic mushrooms. Sorry. Full tangent. That gets talked about a lot on here.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No. I've never actually...
It's become like a breakthrough in the assistance of treating people with PTSD in clinical psychology. It's now legalized in California and it's on its way to being legalized in Australia as a legitimate modality for therapy.
Yeah.
Assisted therapy.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I was taking the mushroom drops.
Oh, yeah. Oh, mushrooms are amazing. Like which ones? Like Reiki mushrooms or lion's mane?
I can't remember. It was a while ago. But I'm all for plants, you know, like it's nature, law of nature, healing vibes. Come on, people.
I love it. If it's from the earth, it's of the greatest worth, right?
Yeah, and I feel like if you're putting something into your body that's from the earth, it's reconnecting you back to your core, which is nature.
Yeah.
Changing, seasons, cycles. Nothing lasts forever. You're here to have this experience of the ever-changing life because we signed the soul contract.
These are good messages.
Yeah.
Let's end on that.
Yeah.
These are good messages.
Can I share one more thing?
You can keep
Because,
going. You know what? Just before you go, like,
yeah.
I got this microphone out and I seen your boyfriend walk through.
Where is he?
I don't know. And I'm like, he was being so courteous, tiptoeing.
Oh, I didn't even hear him.
I know, like a full ninja. And I'm like, I was trying to get his attention to go, dude, grab the mic. No, just kidding. It's all good.
Yesterday on the podcast that I was with my friend, when we were finishing, she asked me, what's your one, last, words of wisdom? And I said to her, this is a motto, this is the number one motto that I live by. Everything is always working out for me. Everything. Even in the times when I feel like life is so fucked, it is always working out for me. And in those times when I feel like it's not working out, it's a part of the bigger picture of everything working out. The universe is always doing its best to put us back on track. So when things aren't working out, you're actually being supported and held more than you think you are. And I promise you, you are being supported. That is my final dying words.
Thank you. I need to hear it. All right, Shell. Are you texting your boyfriend? So romantic. He can come out. Thanks, Shell.
Thank you.
All right, let's
Good
go.
to see you.
I don't know. I almost don't want it to end.
He's saying, okay, hang on, he's coming.
Oh, no, I'm about to end it. No, we'll keep going. No, I'm ending it. I'm playing the outro music. What are we going to talk to him about? No, we don't have to.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Miss or Mrs. Shell Whitbred. Here he is.
Oh, here he is,
yes,
the man.
Dude, I've got a microphone for you. What's going on, man? We've got a special guest in the dying hour. All right, let's get out of here, eh? So
Thank
good.
you
Legend.
so much.
You.